Welcome to The Shift Show with Adriana Bucci. Join me every week to learn all about narcissistic abuse recovery, healing from physical and emotional pain after the abuse, and everything else to do with toxic people and how they affect your physical, emotional, and mental health. And no, you are not the crazy one. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Let's get right to it.
Hello. It has been a solid year or so since I have done a podcast episode. Yes, you are absolutely seeing and hearing this right now. There is a brand new podcast episode. I'm super excited to announce that I am resurrecting my podcast. Finally, it has been a long time coming. And I wasn't really expecting to take so much time off of it, but life kind of got in the way and it just sort of is what it is. But I am back. Hopefully you are still here and I'm super excited to continue this. And this podcast is going to be a little bit different this time around. I'm probably not going to have too many interviews with other people. I'm just going to keep it as, simple as possible. So it's probably going to be mainly episodes about different topics each week, just to keep things simple. So today, I thought I would talk about guilt trips and setting boundaries and how that all works when you're dealing with a narcissist. So if you've ever tried to set a boundary with the narcissistic abuser in your life, you probably realized very quickly that it's a bit of a fucking shit show at the end of the day, because this person ends up either arguing with you or putting you on a guilt trip or kind of making you the bad guy and telling you that they should have boundaries with you. And the thing with mainstream boundary advice that's out there is that it's not exactly helpful when you're dealing with a narcissistic abuser. It's really only useful if you're setting a boundary with a normal, healthy, decent person who's capable of thinking properly and can understand and, has empathy. Obviously, these are qualities that narcissists do not possess. So it does not go the way we expect it to go. So the first thing I would recommend for you is to expect the expected with this person. How do they usually react? And expect them to react that way, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about getting supply from you. Narcissistic supply is your emotional reaction, your energy, your time, your resources. And when you set a boundary with a narcissist, they're not going to be happy, right? They're going to be pissed. They feel entitled to gaining supply from you. And so when you take that away from them, they're not going to be excited about it. They are going to probably try as many different antics to, get you to not set that boundary or to, break your boundary altogether. And this is going to look like love bomb, devalue, or discard. So they will potentially love bomb you and tell you whatever it is that you want to hear. And that is going to cause you to not set the boundary because maybe you start to believe that, oh, maybe we're getting somewhere. Maybe everything is going to be okay after all. And sure enough, obviously, that is very short-lived because then you end up in the exact same cycle. Another way that you can expect a narcissist to react to you setting a boundary is by them devaluing you. So then, instead of them taking ownership for whatever it is and, helping you feel safer, they will just sort of start attacking you in some way, shape, or form. Anything to kind of get the emotions of fear, shame, or guilt ignited within you, that's what they're going to do, because someone who's in that state is easier to control. So the purpose of love bombing is really for them to gain your trust. Once they're satisfied that they've gained your trust, they go right into the devalue. So if you are already in a situation with the narc where they don't feel like they've lost your trust fully, they might go right to the devalue. Another thing they might do is discard you when you set a boundary. So that could end up being a huge blowout. It could end up being a smear campaign. It could end up being that they never talk to you again. There's no right or wrong way to be discarded. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. This is literally just the cycle of abuse. It can look like so many different things. Just kind of observe your own situation, see how it's going, and notice if it's love bomb, devalue, or discard, and you're going to gain a lot of clarity that way. So one example that I wanted to talk about in this podcast episode is when you set a boundary with a narcissist and they tell you that you're punishing them. So I made a post today on Instagram. No one sees my Instagram posts anymore because the algorithm's doing some funny stuff these days for the past several weeks. But I'll talk about it here so people will get the content here. So basically, the example that I used in my post is you set a boundary with a narcissistic mother, for example, because she keeps telling other people random personal details about your life and it's none of their business, and you thought you told her all these things in confidence, and you basically tell her like, hey, I'd appreciate it if you don't tell people about my personal life. It's not really any of their business, and if you keep doing this, I'm not going to be confiding in you anymore because I'm not sure if I can really trust you. And you know, a normal, healthy mother, it would never get to this point to begin with. And even if it did, you would have the conversation and she would probably be like, oh, okay, like, thank you for letting me know. I apologize. It's not going to happen again. And it would actually not happen again. And she would not go ahead with different manipulation tactics in order to get a rise out of you. But with a narcissistic mother, she'll go ahead with the whole shocked Pikachu face and ask you, why are you punishing me? And you can almost hear the tiny violin playing, and, you know, she might even start crying and whatever. And the whole point of her saying this is not because you're actually punishing her, right? At the end of the day, removing your supply from a narcissist is a punishment to them, right? Because it's something they feel entitled to. And it's just such a ridiculous concept. I think I'm going to make an entire podcast episode about how dumb supply is at the end of the day. Like, can you really imagine living your life in a way where you live to see other people reacting to your nonsense? Like, never mind your hobbies, never mind, like, whatever the meaning of life is to you, but supply, getting reactions out of other people. It's really, really stupid at the end of the day. But narcissists are not the brightest people out there. And I know there's going to be people in the narcissist rights movement who say that I'm being mean and I'm being a narcissist myself, but I'm just calling a spade at the end of the day. And I have no compassion for narcissists. They are choosing their behavior. If you don't believe me, that's okay. You don't have to. But you can just keep observing the situation that's happening and you will realize that they are choosing their behavior. But you have to really be in that observation mode. So anyways, the whole point in them asking you why you're punishing them is because you have taken away access to yourself by setting whatever boundary you've set. And they want to make you believe that you're being horrible and unreasonable and a big meanie in order for you to feel guilty, because people who feel guilty are easier to control. So if they can get you to believe that you're punishing them and they can make you feel guilty for that, that's going to distract you from the initial problem, which is the fact that she went behind your back and told other people things about your personal life that she had no business telling other people. And they love doing this. They love when you share your vulnerabilities with them. They love when you confide in them because it gives them something to talk about with other people. Anytime that you say something to a narcissist and you're like, please don't tell anyone about this, you can guarantee they are going to tell somebody about it. That is just what they do. So I would not recommend getting vulnerable with a narc. And they have way too much fun gossiping about you to whoever will listen. It gives them high quality supply and they want to continue to do it. So instead of apologizing or owning what they did, they end up making themselves a victim to escape accountability. And it's, you know, the trade-off for that is you get to live your life believing that you're being a big meanie by setting very reasonable boundaries with anyone. And you probably won't really realize how much time you ended up wasting feeling guilty because you were manipulated into it. And your whole purpose in life to your narcissistic parent is to be a source of supply for them. They brought you onto this planet for no other reason for their own entertainment. And, they're just really securing their supply investment by manipulating you for your entire life. And they'll find weird ways to justify it. It's not something that's going to make any sense. Narcissists live off of justifications at the end of the day. And you don't have to believe their justifications. So I hope this episode has been helpful. There will be more episodes coming very, very soon. So stay tuned. Hopefully you're still subscribed to this. And I hope this has been a helpful episode in unpacking the manipulation tactics of making you feel guilty when you set a boundary. And there's other ways that narcs can make you feel guilty when you set a boundary. This is just one of many examples I could possibly provide. But if you ever feel guilty after setting a boundary, just look at the situation objectively. Ask yourself, what is the agenda? And see what you discover. All right, and the final thing I'll say before I end this episode is I now have a brand new coaching community. It's a new membership. You can join month by month. You can join for 3 months. You can join for a year. There's 2 different tiers to choose from. It's absolutely amazing. I am no longer doing small group coaching or one-on-one coaching at all anymore. I got super sick over the summer and really had to slow down. I'll probably talk about that in another episode in the future. But I'm all good for the most part now, just residual brain fog and all that fun stuff. But so yeah, that kind of forced me to slow down a bit and start this membership. So with that being said, it's extremely affordable. Tier 1 is only $22 per month, and you get access to live events, audio courses, resources, and the whole community where you can connect with other survivors. Then there's Tier 2, where you get all the things that are included in Tier 1, plus you get my support, so you can submit a request for support and I can get back to you within 48 business hours. It's usually way faster because we're still a pretty small group, so I'd get in now while things are still not quiet, but manageable, and I can get back to you really fast. And there's also Voxer coaching days with Tier 2. So 1 day per month, I dedicate the entire day to going back and forth with you in Voxer. Whatever it is you're going through, you want my advice, you want my opinion on something, you want extra support as you do the inner work, I got your back, and we go back and forth on Voxer all day. It is absolutely amazing, and it's only $65 a month. This is an insane price for the amount of support that you get in Tier 2. Plus, in Tier 2, there's a monthly workshop. My workshops used to be like $100, and this is just $65 per month. You get the replay for 90 days. You get to take part in the Q&A if you can make it live. And there's just so many perks for Tier 2. And there will be more perks that I'll be announcing in the very near future, but I'm not ready to announce those just yet. So jump in and see for yourself. So I will put the link to the community right here in the description if anyone is interested in getting more information or signing up for it. If you are listening to this, if you happen to be listening to this before 3 o'clock on September 7th, get in before then because you will be able to take part in the first Q&A. It's happening live over Zoom and both tiers are invited. So take advantage of it. If it's after 3 p.m. on September 7th, you will still be able to access the replay. And there are still so many more other amazing live events coming up throughout the month of September. There will be more in October. Each month there will be amazing events. So jump in today. I'm super excited to work with you in the membership, and I will stop rambling in this episode. I hope that this topic has been helpful, and stay tuned. This podcast exists again. There will be more episodes coming out regularly. I'm going to aim for every Wednesday morning to get an episode up on this podcast. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.